Google search has been on a downhill trend in terms of search results. Okay, they've basically poo-pooed all over their own bed. They've doused it with gasoline and lit it on fire, and then they sit in front of it and go, everything is fine. That's Google search. Regardless of that, I was reading this article, and there were a few, well, two specifically, bits of information that were, well, I didn't know. And then I had to take note to do a deep dive into other aspects of what I'm about to show you. So let's read it. Europe plots escape hatch from the enshittification of search, plus how to make Google less unhelpful. So the European Union has decided enough with search results. I hate them all. Yada, yada, yada. There are efforts to foster truly independent search engines that don't piggyback on existing web giants. One such project is the EU-backed Open Web Search Initiative. Its web presence reflects that this is a research effort. It doesn't have anything to sell you, so there's no sales elevator pitch here, although its fact page is a bit more helpful. So in case you're interested in having a look at that, you can look at that. So the open web search is something that Europe is trying to do here to kind of like escape what's going on with search results becoming really, really bad. Now, another option is to pay for your own search engine. So Kagi is one. I've used that a little bit. It's not bad. It's pretty good. However, if you're too cheap to pay, there are some things you can do to clean up Google search results. One of the most useful is an extra term you can add into the Google search URL. $UDM equals 14. This tells Big G to exclude AI-generated overviews from the results it returns. This simple switch is so helpful that it even has its own domain, udm14.com. And so you could just do like unprotected S3 buckets. And there you go. Of course, there's just a whole list of S3 buckets exposure. I might have to leave this up. I wasn't expecting to search that and find more exposed S3 bucket articles. I actually wasn't expecting that. In any case, here we go. Okay, so that's one. All right, so that's interesting right there. It calls it the disenshittification Konami code after the famous cheat code from Konami's 1987 game Contra. You can add a custom search engine named Google Web Search with a search URL of Q equals %S UDM14 TBS equals LI1. In other words, when performing a search, go to Google, pass it the term you're looking for. That's the Q part. Apply two special parameters. The first is the Konami code, which is UDM14. And the second parameter, TBS-LI1, tells it to use verbatim matching. So I specifically saved this to see what would happen if we tried this out. So it's going to be google.ca and then search Q. Okay, and then we're gonna go. Well, hang on. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna do it exactly like this. Yeah, we'll just save a little bit of time, and then we're gonna go TBS right equals LI1, I believe. Yes. There you go. There you go. Too commonly, S3 buckets are left unsecured and unencrypted. Now, I don't actually think this did a 1-for-1, but it did narrow down the search results relatively nicely, especially if you compare it to, the search results are definitely a bit different here, right? So this was quite helpful. So just in case you wanted to use this, there you go. You can, a few tips to using Google search engine a little bit better. And what this has got got me into, which I need to do a little bit more research into, is whether or not there are other filters and keyword attributes that Google has that maybe are not commonly known. There is some documentation, quote unquote documentation, that you can read on a variety of different filters. So I'm going to do a little bit of a dive into that at some point when I have the damn time, and see if I can figure out more of these kinds of filters and see if there's any usefulness behind them. Because if there is, then maybe we can create a series of filters that are automatically generated. I think they even talk about this here. Yeah, so you can add it as like a default search engine like query parameter thing to Firefox right here. For example, they say that there is a way to do this so that all you do is you plug in your search query, and then it adds those filters in automatically on the Google search. So yeah, there you go. Some tips. I thought they were very surprising and useful to me. Maybe they're useful to you. Q equals unprotected. Yeah. Yeah, unprotected. Actually, that's a good one. Let me, I just want to try that. So let's just say, let's just go unprotected, maybe. Yeah, that's going to give you all kinds of stuff. What if we did exactly what quad? Yeah. Now, I think this does a one-to-one, right? So if we take out the TBS one-to-one, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't use Google anymore. I asked ChatGPT. I think a lot of people do. I'm not surprised by that many S3 exposures. Can we use it for Gmail searching? I don't know. That's a good question, Johnny. Go ahead and give it a shot, I guess. Yeah, Lawler, there you go. So you can pre set up your filters and then plug in your search param. May want to use safe search on that one. It could get sticky otherwise. Yeah, more ways than one. Know what I'm saying?